Okay, now it's time to get started on our job. Let's come right over to the driver's side and we're going to come underneath the steering column. One of the first areas we're going to come to is this area right here and start removing this panel. To do that, I'm going to go ahead and get this out of here. We use a little fork tool, get right underneath it, pop it out of place. Now we can go ahead and grab onto this, pull it right out, inspect it, set it aside. Next, we're going to start removing the panel that's directly underneath the steering column. To do that, there's going to be two 7mm headed bolts. There's one right here and one over a little bit further towards the passenger side. Let's remove the pair. Carefully grab onto that panel. We're going to try to tug it off of here. Inspect it. Set it aside. Now that we took down the panel under here, we have nice clear access to two more mounting bolts. There's one located right here and one over towards the passenger side. Go ahead and remove the pair of those. Next, to make things a little bit easier for us, I'm also going to take off this metallic bracket right here. You're going to find two mounting bolts for that. Once again, on the driver's side and then over towards the passenger side of this area. All right, so now that we have all of that out of the way, we're going to continue on to having a look at this. If you were to look up underneath the steering column, you're going to be able to see that bolt that's located up along the top. This one's going to be the hardest one to be able to get to, but overall, if you just come through here with a short extension and a 1/4-inch ratchet, you should be able to access it fairly easily. And then if you were to look underneath the wiring harness, you're going to be able to find the other one located right here. Let's go ahead and start removing the pair. Once we pull this down a little bit, we can start disconnecting the electrical connector. Let's start with that top bolt because it's a little bit hard to get to. I'm just going to use an 8mm in my extension. Go ahead and pop that right out of there. Now let's move along to the lower bolt. Now with both of our bolts out of there, let's go ahead and grab onto this. We're going to give it a little wiggle to try to break it free from the box. Now we can start pulling it down so we can access the wiring. Now let's go ahead and give this a little twist so we can have a look at the back side here. We're going to go ahead and press in on this tab right where my index finger is and then pop this off. There it is, friends. All right, now it's time to install our actuator here. We're going to pay attention to the back side. As we start putting this in here, of course we're going to connect in the connector first, but after that we need to start lining this up with the corresponding hole. If you were to look closely at this, you can see that it has 3 thinner prongs and then one that's a little bit wider here. So when you try putting it in, if it doesn't seem like it wants to fit, just kind of rotate this a little bit until it does slide in, and then you can rotate it even more to be able to line it up and then of course mount it. Go ahead and connect this in, listen for a click. There it is. Now let's go ahead and twist this a little bit. We'll get it up and into position. Right like that. All right. Now I'm just going to go ahead and twist this so it's in position. Grab our 2 mounting screws. We'll start them both in. Once they're started, we can snug them up. One in here. All right, now that they're both started, let's go ahead and snug this up. So now what you're going to want to do is go ahead and put the key in the on position. We're going to come over here and put our blower motor on. And then you just want to adjust the temperature from this area here and make sure that the temperature of the air coming out changes. Once you're sure everything functions properly, let's go ahead and put on this metal bar. You can see that you have these little tabs. They need to fit in here. Do it the same on both sides. We'll start in both of our mounting bolts, and then we can snug these up as well. Let's move along to this area down here, put in both of these screws. All right, now it's time for this plastic piece right here. Let's have a look at this. You're going to see that you have tabs located on both sides of it. You want to make sure that they line up with their corresponding holes. Once it feels as though they're lined up, carefully press it in. Listen for a click from both sides. Now let's put in both of our mounting bolts. Now it's time for this kick panel. Have a look. We've got our tabs. We have our holes. Line them up, press it in. Now we'll come right over to this area here. We're going to get this lined up as well. We've got our 1 push clip. Go ahead and slide that in. Lock it down.